welcome to Bear in Mind, no additional subtitle.
I like that.
This is a experimental episode, much more free form. I mean, you're used to us not being prepared. This is going to be even less prepared than usual.
Yeah, this is us. This is us going to full Olympic grade. Bear in mind chat today. So
yes, we are discussing our feelings on the sitcom. There is no structure. This episode could end up being 5 minutes if we run out of ideas. It could be 6 hours if we don't. It's most likely going to be neither of those things.
I bloody well hope it's neither. Yeah.
Can we make an episode longer than the Snyder Cut of Justice League?
I'm sure we could.
More of a waste of time.
I'm not sure it'd be more of a waste of time than that film, but I think it would certainly.
I mean, there's a market for Jesus Joker, right?
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think we're talking about that film today. Let's leave that for another show, because we will review it. We're definitely watching it.
I'm less sold on that idea. You might review it on your own.
I'm game. But
if you want to waste 4 hours on it, if it was a shorter film, I might be tempted.
I get you. Yeah,
I think finally watched Lawrence of Arabia with that time.
Yeah, I know, and like the thing is, that like as we've discussed in a different episode where we've talked about Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence of Arabia is one of the greatest pieces of cinema and/or TV, just moving image that's ever been created. So as much as that 4 hours is still 4 hours, it's actually a rather enjoyable 4 hours that you will take something with you, and even be tempted to spend that 4 hours again. Whereas, I don't know, I almost wish that it was still a miniseries. I think I could have possibly tolerated the miniseries because I could have done.
News that originally he wanted a romance between Lois and Batman.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's a film. You don't have time to establish all of that. Like, fair enough if you want to try and do it, but there's so much he's trying to cram into that if you put in that in as well, there's no logical, like, because it seems to be on a relatively short time frame.
They're saying there's not for time, but it's the length of a British sitcom series. It
is, but
you heard it here first. Zack Snyder's Justice League, a classic British sitcom.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Back on track.
I suppose it is. Yeah, it's there's dark and inappropriate jokes, as some of the old British sitcoms would have had, like It Ain't Half Hot Mum. I'm sure there would have been.
I think we're
awful ones in there.
We're dedicating this show to the classic British sitcom.
I think it's all sitcoms.
The most famous British sitcom. Hail, Honey, I'm Home.
Oh, yeah. I think it's Hail, Honey, I'm Home.
Yes. That's a better pronunciation than mine.
Yeah. I've not seen this. I think
one of the most ill-conceived ideas for a pilot ever. But they shot it.
I'm sure there must be worse.
Yeah,
I'm
probably.
Sure there has to be worse.
This was a British sitcom that only one episode existed of. I'm sure it was a real idea for a sitcom and it wasn't an elaborate joke. I could be wrong. Maybe it was just an elaborate joke and the myth around it is part of that elaborate joke. But I don't think it was. I think it's real. But it was a basically traditional household sitcom of married couple with neighbours. But the married couple was Hitler,
and David Braun.
yeah, and he'd come home, and yeah, it exists out there. It's a British one-off
I mean,
sitcom.
it does feel like something where there's a TV company that had some budget left, and they needed to spend it so that they could justify the following year's budget.
Yes,
And they found this thing that they knew that they were never going to make.
producer style.
Yeah, a bit almost producer style, probably more military style, where like we need to go and bomb someone so we can use these bombs so we can justify buying more bombs for next year.
It was a genuine thing. It isn't part of an elaborate joke. It was produced in 1990.
You see, it seems like the right time as well. For something of that ilk. And I think that, like, as ridiculous as it sounds, I could see it with the right writers, the right performers, being something that might work. Like, it would be truly outrageous.
8 episodes, only the pilot's ever been seen. But apparently 8 episodes exist.
Oh my.
I know the first episode is about Neville Chamberlain coming to visit.
Now you see,
he doesn't want his neighbours, the Goldsteins, to interrupt.
Now you see,
it's bad. It's not a good idea.
It sounds like someone tried to write a Ben Elton script, so they tried to write a Blackadder, but with Hitler.
It could be deemed as a very bad attempt at a Ben Elton style.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, bit kind of off topic. It was meant to just be a faux. Well, not off topic, but sitcoms.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've made a good, like, even if by accident, you've made a good point that, like, situation comedies, as is their full name, we're not best friends with sitcoms.
For a good few years, I thought it was sitting comedies.
Sitting comedies, yeah.
Like with some French made a joke about being being called sitting comedies, and I took her at face value and believed her for a while.
Well, I mean, certain forms of the sitting comedy, like say Married with Children, where it's mainly based on a sofa. Like maybe you're correct. It's a sitting comedies are a subgenre of situational comedies. But yeah,
I'd say our core experience is with both British and American sitcoms.
Yeah, I think
so that's probably what we'll be talking about here.
Yeah.
Although, if there's any non-British or American sitcoms you think we should watch, feel free to pop them in the thing below.
I mean, we would have seen a few Australian ones as well. Especially those. Well, I mean, there's been those faux documentary ones. Like it was High School High or something like that. That Australian comedian who dresses up as a little girl. What's it called? No, it's not that one. That's a film from the 90s.
I know what you're on about. I know which one you're on about.
Yeah.
On BBC showed it over here.
Yeah, it was on BBC Three. Summer Heights High. Yeah, Summer Heights High.
I've never
seen it. Chris Lilly is the actor, creator, director, writer, what have you. Some of his stuff is excellent, and like his later stuff kind of just teeters off a bit because it's all just sort of repeating the same jokes, to be honest. But it's I think Summer Heights High was the first one, which I think it said was 2007. So it would have been in that peak of the fly in the wall documentary style sitcom, as spawned by The Office. Excuse me. So
that became a whole thing, didn't it? As a modern, if anyone, we're recording this as the Disney Plus show WandaVision is airing.
Which you've been watching, but I
which I've been
haven't.
watching, which is potentially is what's inspired me to do this. It's a love letter to sitcoms, well, American sitcoms specifically through the ages. I think the last episode we got was probably the last of the sitcom episodes, and we're going to get very traditional MCU for the next two final episodes.
Well, I think the next episode's 47 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're going for an hour for the last two. But we just got to the modern era, basically, and it did the whole talking to camera, modern family bit. And that scene, it's interesting how that mechanic became so overused to a point where it makes no sense. Like Office, there was a documentary crew filming them. Same with, I'm going to say it right now, in regards to the war of the offices, I'm an American office person over a UK office.
I'm a bit of neither, to be honest.
Although, there's part of it that feels like, even as modern as it is, I give it a feeling an American office probably hasn't aged that well.
I feel like I need to have a sit down and watch both. I have seen the
I'm not a Ricky Gervais fan in general.
When I'm in the mood for him, I really enjoy him. When I'm not, I don't.
I watched extras back in the day and enjoyed it, but I'll be honest, I don't like Ricky Gervais the person.
I can get you there. Yeah, I think the thing with extras though, it was the special guests.
Yes,
that sort of made it, and I think actually with that where he essentially almost stepped back. Like I think like as much as Ricky Gervais gets criticised for having a bit of an ego, like I think sometimes
of the frame of mind that Merchant was always the talent in that relationship.
I think Gervais has plenty of talent as well. I think Merchant is more talented. I'm not going to
but we digress into a negativity I'm not keen on.
I don't know. I think that was constructive criticism.
So this camera, this take of talk of the cast talking to the camera. In the frame of The Office, it makes sense because
it was a documentary.
Office, there's a 7-year documentary going on. However many years it ran for.
10, I think. Yeah.
But when you get stuff like Modern Family, they do it as
well. Modern Family started as a faux documentary comedy series because it was about a modern family. So it was like
it never establishes a documentary crew. Ever.
No, it doesn't, does it?
No,
but I think
they're just talking. Like Modern Family is a very traditional family sitcom. I like Modern Family.
But then at the same time, I suppose potentially with the success of The Office and the success of a couple of other things as well.
It was a popular style of the
time.
So
the style, like, so maybe
style
culture
became so popular, it's used in areas that make no sense.
I mean, wasn't Arrested Development like that as well?
Arrested Development was. Arrested Development is a faux documentary because Arrested Development has a narrator.
I know it has a narrator, but I couldn't quite. It's been that long since I watched it.
It's not got talking to camera. It might have glances to camera. But it's not got talking to camera. But it does have.
Yeah, it has Ron. Yeah, because it's his show, isn't it? I sort of have this vague memory in my head of it almost feeling like not a live documentary, but like the recreated documentaries, like when you watch like the murder mystery documentaries where they get actors in. That like almost Arrested Development was this through. It was actors playing the characters in a.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's another. Well, at least original Arrested Development is another sitcom I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, I never got around
Its
to
revival
watching.
significantly less. To be fair, even its third season isn't great, but those first 2 seasons are great. And so eminently gifable and quotable.
Definitely, and like I think, it was just it was a very good show. I think it was the right show at the right time as well. So
yeah.
Anyway, I think, obviously we have rambled quite a bit. We did say this was non-scripted.
This was going to be a rambly episode. This is basically the show to watch if you want our unfiltered thoughts on sitcoms.
Yeah. So obviously we've briefly mentioned Australian. We did say we'd mainly talk about American and British. For those out there, potentially some American viewers who aren't that familiar with British sitcoms, there are differences. In an episode of ours, I can't remember which show it was actually. We talked about a few weeks back. I mentioned that I purely happened upon a little clip of Stephen Fry talking about the difference between American and British comedy, and that American comedies tend to be, again, this is generalizing, but tend to be about the egocentric winner winning, and British comedies tend to be about the egocentric winner losing. And I mean, I think it's like it's changed over time a bit. This clip of Stephen Fry's was, I think it was about 2010. I think like we are beginning to homologize a little bit. But I think on the whole, they are the directions that we come from. And then
the reason I don't buy it is I'm not 100% sure sitcom as a form has many winners in its characters, as in...
It's not necessarily a case of like winning, but like winning at being what you are. Like, so, I mean, I mentioned Married with Children earlier, which was one of the first, I suppose, really sitcom-y American sitcoms that I watched. Like, as opposed, I mean, my half-assed cosplay today. MASH was the first American sitcom really that I properly got into as a kid because my dad absolutely adored it. So when it was on TV, I think when we first got Sky, it was on Sky One like every night. But this is essentially a very high concept sitcom, whereas say Married with Children is the sitting comedy, as you'd put it, and with that, Al Bundy, who obviously we've mentioned Modern Family, played by the grandpa character, and I can't remember the actor's name.
Yes.
He is a working class slob who is married to Katie Segal, who's like dressed in leopard print and has big hair and what have you.
Ed O'Neill.
Ed O'Neill, yeah. And he is very proud of what he is, and it isn't anything special, but he's essentially happy with what he is. And so he wins at not having to get any better, if you know what I mean.
I think you get animated sitcoms as well. Sitcoms aren't all live action. The animated sitcom in recent years has become a big thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously
it was just Simpsons, but
we've just finished shooting an entire series of our content about an animated sitcom. Yeah, Star Trek Lower Decks. Check the rest of our channel.
First off, I think, but yeah, Simpsons starts as a play on that traditional style of family on the couch sitcom and becomes.
I mean, the opening sequence is quite literally a sitting comedy.
Yeah, the sitcom itself. I've said to you before, I think the sitcom is modern humanity's greatest art form.
I think when it's at its best.
Yes. I think for portraying, and I say greatest art form, I think it's the best art form for more than heady dramas, for really nailing the human condition.
Mm.
I think, especially American sitcoms, handle character development better than nearly anything.
Usually because they're longer form, I think.
Longer form,
Whereas obviously traditionally British sitcoms
drama
tend to
TV
be
in recent
quite
years
short.
has really narrowed in on being 6-hour films as opposed to TV.
Mm.
The miniseries is king at the moment. So you aren't really getting tons of these 22 episode, 40-minute TV shows anymore.
Mm. Although
prestige drama is the in thing for the other side, because I think that's the thing with television, right? It's drama and comedy, at least for fictional television.
Essentially, yeah.
While the sitcom is still the sitcom. It hasn't really changed its form, but it changes its tricks. But it rarely changes its form.
The thing is, it's whether you define sitcom as a true genre or not, because obviously the thing is that like sitcom can have any setting whatsoever, as we've just said. That like we've just spent the last 5 weeks discussing a cartoon sitcom set in Star Trek.
One of our favourite sitcoms of recent years is Upstart Crow.
Yeah,
a British Ben Elton written piece starring
David
Mitchell,
yes,
as William Shakespeare.
Yeah, which, like, spoilers, we're very possibly going to do a short series on the greatest sitcoms of all time. That's going to be very, very close to the top for me.
Very good. Another recent great British sitcom, Ghosts. Which you may be any American viewers may be less familiar with this, but there was a British book series called Horrible Histories, which is a way to teach history to kids, and it goes into the kind of horribleness of history.
The really gruesome bits, but it does it with a sense of humour, so that the kid it's so that the kids can deal with the gruesomeness more in the same way that they might deal with a cow, like seeing a cow take a big poo, than seeing a man get his head cut off. And so,
they turned it into one series years ago, which was short-lived, but then they turned it into a very popular TV series that was basically run by an improv troupe.
it was an improv troupe, and some of them became like more mainstream comedy successes in the UK. They've even appeared in some fairly big films, actually. Like usually it's like smaller parts, but you'd probably recognise some of them. But yeah, with Ghosts, they recently
takes a lot of the Horrible History crew, and the concept is.
Well, it is the majority of them, isn't it? And they've all worked together, and they get like co-creator, co-writer credits. So there's like 10 of them.
So in this, a down on their luck married couple, and a Charlotte Ritchie who plays the wife, one of my favourite comedy actors of recent.
She's fantastic. Like
ever since Fresh Meat, I've been a big fan.
You see, I'd never knowingly seen her until Ghosts, and I mean, it's to anyone who's watched this channel before, it's no secret that I love the original Superman movie. She reminds me so much of Margot Kidder.
So I can see that, yeah.
Like not just physically, like she does look a little bit like Margot Kidder, but there's a beautiful, like, understated presence to her work where she's like quiet but at the same time dominating, in the same way that like obviously Margot Kidder was with Superman, which was very important playing Lois Lane, because obviously with Lois you need to be a dominant character to make Clark look small, and then to emphasize how incredible Superman is, that she's in awe of Superman. But yeah, I think that like Charlotte Ritchie has that same quality.
Yeah, so this couple who are down on the luck inherit a rundown manor house. So they move into it. She hits her head, and she can see ghosts now.
Yeah,
including all the ones that haunt.
Yeah,
this manor from throughout the ages. So you have like a caveman ghost.
Yeah.
A disgraced politician from the 90s and everything in between.
It's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant
2
bit of TV.
seasons and a Christmas special so far.
I could, if they can keep the quality up, I could see that. Like if we did another top 50 like in 5-10 years time, I could see that sneaking quite high up the ranks. As it stands, I think it would probably hit like kind of middle. For me.
I would recommend watching Fresh Meat. It's a 40-minute sitcom.
How odd!
I think it was 40 minutes an episode.
So is that like a
Channel 4 show?
Yeah, so I was going to say it must have been on one of the advertising channels, because obviously in the UK,
the best way I can think of, the In-Betweeners. Yeah, 40 minutes an episode. I mean, someone could argue it's a dramedy.
Yeah,
it's not. It's a sitcom. But
I see. Speaking of long episode sitcoms, we watched an episode of Catherine the Great.
Yeah,
I think it's, or is it? No, it's The Great.
Catherine the Great.
It's
about Catherine the Great.
Yeah. Which is a Channel 4 HBO Stars.
Nothing to do with HBO. I don't think it Stars.
I know. I'm sure it's
They're competing networks, so it's not going to be a co.
Well, I looked up the production companies, and there's definitely 2 American ones, and it might not be HBO, but it was definitely Stars something and Channel 4.
Yeah, got Nicholas Hull and
the younger Fanning, Dakota.
Yeah.
Elle Fanning, sorry. Yeah, Dakota's the older one. That is fantastic. And I mean that's very adult as well.
Paramount.
There you go.
Who owns Stars?
Fair enough.
I believe so, anyway. But at least have something in
something
Stars.
to do. Yeah. Yeah, that was excellent. We only watched like the one episode. We do want and it was just
about it.
We just kind of caught it, and I think it was episode 3. So I think we want to go back and like binge the lot of it when it's like all done and dusted. But
saying a fresh meat. Do you remember, obviously, In-Betweeners, popular British sitcom about sixth form students getting up to hijinks.
Just boys being boys.
Yeah, and
really, like,
for how lewd it is, it works because it has a surprising amount of heart to it. Like the relationship between the 4 of them becomes quite tender and sweet.
Yeah, they're good mates. I think like that's because that's the real story of it. It's a story of friendship that just happens to be about 16, 17, 18-year-old boys who are 16, 17, 18-year-old boys who are genuine. Like most boys of that age are disgusting little bastards, and that's what these boys are.
Fresh Meat started as In-Betweeners kind of ended, and one of its lead characters is
I think I remember now. Yeah,
the guy who played Jay. Not Jay. Which is the obviously this is a weird thing to say for a sitcom, but the one that isn't Will out of the 2 that aren't the comic relief.
Like, I honestly can't remember, but yeah,
because Jay's the really like obnoxious one, isn't he?
Yeah, the boss wanker, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Simon. No.
Simon.
No, sorry, Joe.
Joe. Because like,
Oh no,
is
so Joe plays Simon. Simon plays Will.
Mm.
Yeah, Simon. He it could
Is he
almost be
Is he the tall, dark-haired one?
for fair.
Tall.
Not for brief. Not brief.
No, not,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
Let's say the tall, dark-haired one. I would say is one of a comic relief, as well as
Although
Jay.
oddly enough, he's gone on to have like probably critically at least the best career.
Yeah,
he's like doing really serious roles.
Yeah, so he's playing almost the same character at university.
Okay.
So it could almost be seen as his university years, but it's the cast around him. It's an early acting performance for stand-up comic, goes traveling with his dad.
Oh yeah.
Had a whole sitcom about being a bad teacher. This is why we should prepare, guys.
Posh boy, and I can't remember his bleeding name. Yeah, it's just one of those typical things.
We're in our neck of the woods. We're talking about British actors here.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I
distinctly not Simon Amstell.
Distinctly not. That's exactly his name.
Jack Whitehall.
Jack Whitehall.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah.
Playing basically Jack Whitehall.
Yes, because his acting range is so good. So.
Yeah, it was the first thing I saw Charlotte Ritchie in. Hey, Jack Whitehall has a thing he does well. And sometimes to make a good sitcom, all you need is the thing you do well, right?
Definitely. And yeah, I mean, I never did watch that. I can't remember why. There was a period where
seasons. It was very. I mean, I guess it would be coming out roughly around the time we were in uni, maybe just after. So
that might have been it.
Yeah, it would have felt culturally relevant at the time, I guess. Not that we had the most normal of university careers, but
I think because of my various jobs over the years, like whether it be working in a Blockbuster or working in restaurants and stuff, I've always had like slightly odd shift patterns and jobs that have finished like relatively late, like 10 o'clock or midnight or what have you. So there's so much TV over the years that has been culturally relevant at the time that I've missed and then gone back to, and obviously some of it I completely missed, like this. But things like The Office that I totally missed because it was always on when I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, I ended up buying the DVD box sets as they kind of came out for The Office. Back when we bought DVD box sets to watch TV.
Now this is going to be a serious deep dive here, but I think I have them on UMD somewhere.
Of course you fucking do.
I used to watch a lot on my PSP. Like it was like
someone had to use the UMD drive.
It was great. It was really good. I enjoyed UMDs. I've got loads of them.
I guess it was okay for it. I say this. I watch stuff on my phone, so how was that any
exactly?
different?
Exactly. And for the time, the screen quality on the PSP was like outstanding. Obviously nowadays it's not so much, but like for the time it was as good as it gets. It was better than any phone you could get at the time. But anyway, we digress. Yeah, so I think like there's certain things like The Office that like I've ended up watching possibly touch too late, or like Phoenix Nights when that was a big thing, because that was a contemporary of the original Office.
Peter Kay fan, although
I'm not a big Peter Kay fan. No,
I am. I never really watched Phoenix Nights. I am rather fond of his carpool show. I think that was actually a relatively nice little idea. Well, it's just him and his colleague driving to work every morning.
I didn't watch it. He's one of those comedians, and I think it's because of his stand-up. Like, every show is the same.
I get it. Garlic bread.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So
it's for fine rain that gets you wet. I heard this joke last time.
Yeah, I mean, like, I
But
enjoyed the.
I guess people who are going to a Peter Kay show want those jokes.
Mm,
It's for play the hits.
yeah. I mean, it was like that period where Bill Bailey became like immensely popular with students and just instantly became the laziest comedian going. And
See, I disagree with you on this.
I
just don't
like
think Bill Bailey's comedy is to your taste, as opposed to him being a lazy comedian, or at
I
least what he evolved his comedy into.
it was more. It was more.
I don't think he
Again,
was
it was.
lazy. He was still performing new stuff at all his shows.
It just felt very like fan
Maybe he
service.
aged out of Bill Bailey. It could literally just be as simple as that.
Nah.
But speaking of Bill Bailey,
Go on.
he's
Black Box?
dancing on the not Dancing on the Stars. That's an American show. His Strictly Come Dancing performance. Did you watch any of those?
Of course I didn't.
I didn't watch the show, but I saw his dances on YouTube,
I saw
because everyone was like going crazy about him. Like,
I mean, surprisingly
it should be surprising, and yet it somehow is. Like,
no. I'm not surprised he has that level of rhythm. Any musician of his quality, and that, like, as much as his comedy for me goes up and down, like musically, he is very, very talented. Like, he's surprisingly qualified. Like, he's orchestral level good.
anyone who can do a 10-minute musical joke on Kraftwerk is worth it.
Oh, yeah. But he it's more the fact that at his age, and he's not like he's not super old, but I mean, I'm 38 now, and I've had a couple of injuries over the years, like, and like, I only work in a supermarket, and my knees hurt. Like, I need to do more exercise. I need to do some yoga. Like, even if I had Bill Bailey's rhythm, in 10 years' time, I would not be dancing like Bill Bailey. Like, without
man my entire life. So
like, so I think that was the surprise. But yeah, shall we take the Bill Bailey route and take that into Black Books? Did you ever watch Black Books?
I did watch Black Books. It's something I don't feel a desire to ever revisit, but I very much enjoyed it at the time.
Is that because of the creator? Who's now a little...
Is that another line then?
I think it is, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah,
no, he's gone. It is the reason I never revisit it. I probably won't ever revisit It Crowd.
Oh, I watch that all the time.
Because It Crowd and Father Ted was lining, wasn't it? God, how to go off the... But yeah, not the time or the place for that.
No. Discussion. No, I've rewatched the IT Crowd quite a lot. Because it's a wonderful sitcom. I mean, the final series, obviously, it knows it's the final series, and it's sort of, from what I understand, it wasn't meant to be the final series. The previous series was, and they were like sort of dragged back in for it.
Have you ever seen the American pilot with Joel McHale?
I have seen the American pilot with Joel McHale, which is as bad as it sounds. Did you ever see the Joel McHale show on Netflix?
I watched like half an episode and turned it off because I just, outside of him effectively being the straight man in Community, I do not like Joel McHale.
I mean, what's his name? The Australian actor who played the Hulk, Eric Bana.
No, Black Books isn't a line in production.
It isn't. Oh, I thought it was.
No, sorry, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Co-production between Moran and Linen.
Yeah. So Eric Bana, obviously, at least in his acting, is one of the most uncharismatic performers that you'll ever see. And yet, the fact that he was by far the funniest thing on the episode where he was the guest star on the Joel McHale show, like, probably goes to show how bad the Joel McHale show was. It was
Again, I like it's not too even-minded in your tastes. Like, there's
yeah,
someone out there who likes that and finds it funny.
yeah, and they should be on a watch list. So
No,
there's-
people have different tastes.
I know, but I mean, it was really bad. So feel shame if you enjoyed it. But it was like it was one of two really awful things that Netflix put on the same week, because it was that same week that I watched I mean, admittedly, again, it was made for kids. It was an American kids history show. So I can't remember what it was called, but it was some awful name, like the What Was Show or something like that. And it was that one.
Infographics.
No, it was like, I mean, going back to this fake documentary style thing that we talked about earlier on, it's set in a fictional TV studio where the TV exec, played by, I can't remember his name, but he's a familiar like bit part American comedy actor. He like does episodes here, there, and everywhere of other things. The TV exec gathers all these like ex Disney Club kids, like rejects, together and goes, "We need to make a history show." And so like they focus on two different historical figures each episode, and do a deep dive into the history of it, and it's slightly comedic and slightly, what have you.
Comedic history.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a sitcom. I do quite like drunk history.
I've not seen it.
If you make one more than the British one, because Jimmy Carr hosts the British one, and he laughs a lot.
I like Jimmy Carr. But yeah, this
his laugh grates me.
Not
that that's a reason to dislike someone.
Oh no.
But it makes it difficult.
The problem I had with this show was that, I mean, this was a show that was made and released in 2016, I want to say, and in the first the first episode, the two historical figures they focused on, where one was, I think it was Thomas Jefferson, obviously famous thief and stealer of things, and of course they made the outlandish claim that he invented synchronized swimming in it, and then yeah, I know, which I couldn't quite tell whether they were joking or not, and I think that was like
Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, that Thomas
Edison. Edison or Jefferson.
They both stole everything that, like, they were both prolific inventors, and they were both.
Jefferson wasn't an inventor, was he?
He was, yeah, he was a politician and inventor, and like, but a bit like Edison, he'd go, "Oh, I like that. That's mine. Oh, I like that. That's mine."
Much of Jefferson. I know he wasn't a president. Franklin, I can remember inventing things.
Or was it Franklin? Yeah, he was one of them.
Franklin was the key electricity exists.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, Franklin. But yeah, they claimed that he invented synchronized swimming. But then the other historical figure that week was Gandhi, and they would have these kids dress up as the various historical figures, and of course they didn't have a South Asian child, but they did have an East Asian child. So they browned her up and put a skull cap on her and got her to do a full Apu grade Indian accent.
That does not sound good.
Oh yeah, because like.
What year was this?
2016.
Ooh.
It's like, well, she's Asian. That was what the feeling was. It was very much alike.
Not a good look.
Yeah.
So
obviously we didn't watch any more of that.
You've frozen a bit.
Oh,
you're back.
Gone, or I've gone. I don't know.
Oh, you're back for me.
Which way is it?
We're having some technical problems, folks. So feel free to let us know your choice of your favorite sitcoms. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take us for a break. So you might have a placard here. We shall see you soon. Yeah. So speaking of Joe McHale, Community
Yeah,
sitcom, I have complex thoughts on.
same.
I don't think it's good. Like it
Yeah,
is when it wants to be.
I get you.
I think it's. I'm thinking of doing a rewatch of it soon. Actually,
It was one of the ones that was on our like. We have a go to bed
yeah.
like loop on Netflix.
I
So
think
it's
its
quite.
set piece episodes are amazing. Like its special episodes, and they become more and more
Like
frequent.
the paintball ones in particular,
Yeah,
like
and they
yeah,
become more and more frequent as the show goes
mm,
on. But
yeah,
its normal episodes are very American. Okay.
yep, yeah. I get you. Yeah, they're sort of like they're
That
right
said,
on.
it it launched some wonderful comic actors and actresses.
Yeah, I think obviously Glover wouldn't be as famous as he is, at least as an actor,
Yeah,
without that.
both. Everyone in it is a
Oh yeah, yeah.
strong
I mean,
cast.
I mean,
Did you see the clip that did the rounds of Danny Pudi on Larry? Is it Larry King?
yes,
Where
yeah.
Larry King's like, "Oh,
Mm,
what luxuries do you like?" And he's like, "I really like a nice pair of socks." And Larry King's like, "That's not a luxury. What?" It's like, "I like a good cup of coffee."
yeah.
And he's like, "They're not luxuries." So then people say, "Well, Larry, tell me what's a luxury?" And Larry's
Mm,
like, "Private jets." And
mm,
Pudi just goes like, "Larry, I'm on DuckTales."
yeah.
Like, it's such a wonderful moment.
Yeah. Yeah. He's yeah, there's I think that's the thing with that. I think that there was some very very high quality performances actually, and
Yeah,
occasionally writing that matched the quality of the performances. And I think that's why it just elevated itself beyond that what you say the middling American sitcom. Because I think that like for us in the UK, like we don't get to see the vast majority of American sitcoms because it's only the best of the best of the best really that
I
make it
would
over
say
here.
that's not the case anymore, but
Well, I don't know. I think there's dozens and dozens that just don't make it. Like especially in the past. Obviously, now that we've got more channels, like because historically we've been a country with relatively few channels compared to American
uh,
TV.
we're saying that we're speaking slightly disparagingly of middling American sitcoms at the moment.
I mean,
However,
I mean, there's
the most
middling
popular
British ones as
sitcom
well.
is Mrs. Brown's Boys. So
Yeah, no, I'm like I think. I mean, it's not disparaging. It's more to the fact that obviously,
yeah,
it's because for the
stuff to
most
be
part,
good, you have to have a middling to
yeah,
compare
of
it
course.
to. Right?
So like, as easy as it is to forget sometimes that like Britain and America aren't culturally the same. We're not, we aren't the same place. We aren't, we're kind of cousins. We look the same and we sound similar, and we, for the most part, we speak the same language. So like sometimes it's easy to forget that like we aren't the same, and therefore like when we do get TV from America, as much TV as we do get, like it does tend to be the best of what America has to offer because the British TV networks are simply not going to buy the crap stuff. And likewise, anything that comes from Britain and makes it to the States, for the most part, is going to be the best of it because the stuff that is either crap or just isn't to the taste of American culture. It's not going to, why spend the money? So I think that, like, when we say a middling American sitcom, it is one of those ones that, like, we may have seen on the old ABC channel when it launched in, like, the early 2000s.
I used to watch the ABC channel so much. 8 Simple Rules.
Yeah, because it was just it was essentially just a sitcom channel. That's all it was. It was just like, and it was stuff that, I mean, you had your 8 Simple Rules, which was a good, solid American sitcom, like, and like,
I'd argue it is a good, solid, middle of the road sitcom.
I'd say it's at the top of the middle. I wouldn't say it doesn't.
I mean, it has, for at least the first couple of seasons while he was still with us, it has John Ritter.
And then, of course, but it deals with that death very well as well.
Oh, so well.
I think it's like it's one of those exempt.
8 Simple Rules. Kind of, I can't find the word I'm looking for, but it's better than it should be.
I think it's better than it is better than it should be.
Stretches beyond its.
But I think it also becomes better after he dies. Like, and that's not, obviously, I'm not celebrating a death or anything like that, but I think they realized they had such a loss there that I think they upped their game. That they deal with the death beautifully. It is so touching, and it's something that I think we touched on earlier, that, like, sitcoms at their best are devastating, and obviously, unfortunately, this is because of a real life loss. But, like, one of the reasons I love MASH so much is because there are times where you cry with real tears of sadness.
It's why I love Scrubs as much as I do.
Well, I mean, Scrubs is, for all intents and purposes, MASH in a normal hospital rather than an army hospital. Like, it does a very
Scrubs
similar
was
thing.
Not afraid to go for the gut punch.
Oh God, yeah. And
it's a thing. I do think it's a thing American sitcoms do better and go to that well in a way that a lot of British sitcoms just don't.
And again, I think that's because they do usually have the longer seasons to play with. So you have that thing where you can, even if, say, an American sitcom only lasts 2 seasons, that's still going to be 40 episodes, whereas 2 seasons for us could be as few as 12. So you've got the time to build these character relationships, not just between each other, but between the audience and the characters, to make us love them and care for them or hate them, and so you do get that gut punch.
I talked earlier about how sitcoms are great for character development, but that is kind of specifically American sitcoms. British sitcoms, it's going to sound weird for something that is comedy all over, but British sitcoms are more of a joke vehicle.
I get you.
Like one of my, I'm a big fan of.
They're almost a sketch show that gets out of control in a way. Yeah. It's like a single sketch from a sketch show that goes, all right, there's a sitcom.
And I wouldn't go as far as to call what this recommendation a good recommendation, but I find its existence, for how long it's existed and what it's done, rather fascinating. Not going out.
Yeah.
Approaching like season 10.
I think it's more than that, isn't it?
I think it's about season 10. At one point it ended and then came back as an entirely different show. Not going out now is not going out from the... it started as a vehicle for Lee Mack and Tim Vine. Tim Vine eventually left and it became a Lee Mack vehicle. And the point of this show is for Lee Mack to make one-liners. With a variety of characters around him. It's got a thingy in it these days, who's a delight in everything he's ever in. One of the regular captains on Matt for Week, Hugh Dennis.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Also played the Doctor in the ITV superhero sitcom My Hero.
Yes, he did, didn't he?
And is in the great Let Kids Do Whatever the Hell They Want British sitcom, Outnumbered.
Oh yeah, now
which we'll come to in a
oh,
second.
mm,
Yeah, Not Going Out. Started off as it's weird. It was a London apartment based sitcom but always felt like Lee Mack was older than the usual crowd of people who would be in this style of sitcom.
yeah.
And it was years of him making jokes, kind of having feelings for his landlord, then doing the whole thing, and then it ended with him getting married. We all thought the show was over. The show came back. They have like a few kids, one of them 7 years old. They're married and they're living in a house. And it completely shifted itself into being that traditional British family sitcom like My Family and things like that. Weirdly, because of a time jump, it's like the original show was contemporary.
So this one's technically set in the future.
Yes, it's arguably a sci-fi now. It's not. It's still somehow contemporary. So they just bop some kids into existence. But yeah,
I mean, they could have adopted.
Weird. Yeah, but yeah, it's I like it a lot. I watch it when it airs, as it comes out. It's not great. I feel like the way we judge people like Mrs. Brown's Boys, if someone wanted to judge me in the same way for liking Not Going Out, I kind of get it.
No. I think no. Yeah. Mrs. Brown's Boys is the kind of comedy that just should be outlawed, whereas like Not Going Out, as we've just talked about, fair to middling American comedy. I do
not like Mrs. Brown's Boys, but there is the spark of a sharp, smart idea in there. The whole notion of it being filmed in front of a live studio audience and then playing into that and getting a line wrong here and there, and see that itself, is this kernel of
genius.
Yeah. In fact, they just do they just use for the lowest common denominator, kind of.
Oh yeah, I mean it very much feels like a comedy that should have been made in the 70s, and that we look back now and appreciate it for that kernel of genius that it had.
I could almost see how it's a bastion for the kind of people who complain about
cancel culture,
outrage culture, and cancel culture, and like it's a home for them.
It very, very much feels like like 4chan, the comedy series. Yeah, it's.
But we were going to talk about Outnumbered, which is a slice of genius.
Oh yeah.
Again, they decided to do a traditional family sitcom: mother, father, a few kids. They don't script for kids.
No.
And I think as we got older, they started to.
Yeah, because they start really young, like the daughter in particular.
Yeah,
I think
it's clear the oldest kid, Tiger Lily,
4 or something. Tiger Drew Honey.
Tiger Drew Honey, yes.
Not Tiger Lily, the Native American character from
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. Yeah.
So Tiger Drew Honey. It's clear that as he got older, he started to also be scripted. But he was the oldest of the 3 kids to begin with.
Yeah.
The youngest 2 remain relatively unscripted throughout the series, and everyone else reacts.
I mean, the little girl,
she could murder you with.
She is genius.
Yeah.
Because you get the feeling she knew exactly what she was doing.
Yeah.
Like as young as she was, I think she was potentially as young as 4. Like when the show started.
She was quite that young, but still young.
I think she felt that young. Like it was. because there was this raw wit that
Yeah.
came, and it was just so shocking that it came out of something so small, and especially when you learnt that it was unscripted as well. Because I mean, it's always amazing when you see a child actor performing the lines well, but when you see a child actor like this
Improvising, basically.
improvising to the situation. I mean, I suppose it goes to show the like how nice the working environment must have been as well, though.
Yeah.
Like because they must have made these kids feel so comfortable and have fun, and everyone must have got along. That like it, obviously they felt safe to do this.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, there's a level of natural performance there that you don't get from many. I mean, we've worked with some kids in our past with the educational film company that we worked with, and it's you find those little rare gems, but they are certainly rare gems. So when you see something of this caliber, like it was a quality show, absolute quality show. And of course, Tiger drew honey, not Tiger Lily. So went on to star in one of my favourite ones, Cuckoo, which brilliant show. Like started.
I've seen the first season.
You've seen the first season?
Yeah, I'm a big Sandberg fan, so I watched the first season.
So the first season was a British-made Andy Samberg vehicle, where Andy Samberg played a hippie that a young girl from Birmingham, while on a gap year, brought home to meet the parents, and of course she got married to him while they were away. Samberg is about 10 years older than the young girl as well. So there's as well as being a hippie and a bit of a bum and a stoner.
Has Thingy playing the dad, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's Greg. What's his? Davis. Greg Davis. I wouldn't say.
The host of one of Britain's best recent game shows,
Taskmaster, which I didn't realize was on the 10th season.
Yeah,
ridiculous. But the
Dave show until Channel 4 recently bought it.
Purchase. I think it was always sneakily a Channel 4 show, to be honest.
Yeah, Dave just was where it was.
Because yes, Americans that might watch this, we have a channel called Dave. Beat that.
For all you Americans who love British panel shows, though, it would be your dream channel.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
Do you want to watch a 10-year-old panel show that has no relevance to culture anymore? Dave is the channel for you.
Yeah.
To the point where Megley now, a running joke on panel shows, is to talk about people who'll be watching it on Dave in the future.
Yeah. But they so Cuckoo started as a Samberg thing. He was only in it for one season because then he got the green light for B99 because that's actually his baby, I think, because he's producer on it, not just exec producer. So I'm sure that he had something to do with the creation of that. So he left, and then when season 2 came, they got the even more unlikely casting of Taylor Lautner to play Samberg's son. Of course, Lautner, hot off the heels of playing the werewolf boy in the thing that spawned 50 Shades of Grey.
Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight. That's it. So, of course, absolutely massive megastar ends up in this little BBC and now Netflix co-production sitcom set in Wolverhampton. So, of course, he plays the son of Samberg, essentially the same character, but dumb, really dumb. He's a genius, an absolute comedy genius, and works so well with the rest of the team. He does 2 seasons of it, and then the token American in season 4 is Andy McDowell, who plays Greg's half sister. So and again, very, very good in it. Yeah, if you get the chance to watch Cuckoo, it's a fascinating little show because it's very much a British sitcom, but having the American actors in there certainly shakes things up a little bit because you get to see them playing almost outside of their comfort zone because of the change in style of sitcom that it is. Like, I mean, Sandberg is Sandberg, but it's like I think in particular for season 2 and season 3, when you get to see Taylor Lautner, like obviously having the time of his life, like it's well worth it. So
I think we're gonna call it a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a sitcom you think people should give a go, other than Cuckoo that you've just.
If you can get hold of it, like especially for international audiences, excuse me, Upstart Crow, the Ben Elton produced sitcom about Shakespeare. It is some of the sharpest writing that you will ever see. It's
if you like Blackadder as well, you'll
I think if you like if you like historical comedies, if you like history, I think if you like Shakespeare, but it is
if you like commentary on modern politics.
If you like commentary on modern politics, they recently did a quarantine episode as well.
Yes.
Their Christmas special this year was a quarantine episode, which was genius. It was so well done.
I'm going to agree with you on Upstart Crow.
That'll
be my recommendation as well.
As I say, I think we do plan on potentially doing a little series of the top sitcoms.
I know this has been very freeform. I think you've been privy to a first episode of a show, and we're going to call "Bear in Mind" our train of thought.
Train of thought, yeah, because you do love trains at the moment, don't you?
On a train kick at the moment, yes.
You are on a train kick, so yeah, fair enough. We'll have train of thought.
Yeah, I am on a bit of a train kick.
Yeah,
mainly because I've been working on an idea for a train in one of my in a D&D campaign I'm running, and I've scrapped the idea because I realised I was just forcing a train into a place where there shouldn't be a train.
There's always room for a train.
Yeah. I'm not going to say more in case any of my players watch this. But yeah, it made me research some trains. But yeah,
these coming soon to Bear in Mind, a special train of thought train episode.
Well, I think these might be something we do semi-regularly, where we potentially, if it's a kernel of an idea we want to kind of scrap out or discuss, but it doesn't fit into anything.
Well, I think we haven't done any gaming related content in quite a long time because there's been very little to talk about. So I think like we might use train of thought to talk about some games.
Yeah, train as well. I think is going to be our, for want of a better term, generic podcast. It's just where we'll discuss any random thoughts or ideas that come to us. Maybe if we haven't got anything ongoing, we might throw in a train of thought episode, or if we want to put off having to watch Fesson, we'll throw in a train of thought episode.
Feston.
So you can expect many more train of thought episodes to come.
There's a T in it.
That's what I said, Fesson.
Yeah.
Put a T in there.
Yeah. So we did this episode because James doesn't want to watch a Danish film that we've already seen.
Good film. So, yeah. I do not like the film.
Yeah, you don't have to like it. We've got to talk about it. Like, so.
Don't we do this for fun? No, some weird punishment.
Disliking things is fun enough because you can have incredible conversations about that
something after watching it for the first time. it's another thing rewatching something I actively already know I dislike.
See, it's been that long. I don't know. Anyway, let's
Yes,
call.
we shall.
Let's call time. Let's pull into the station.
Yeah.
And park this train of thought. Do trains
you park trains?
I don't know. They certainly stop.
I mean,
so
yeah,
it's reached its termination point anyway. So on that note,
we'll see you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.